In this video, we will walk through the operation of the daylight study command in AGi32 version 14. If you are new to daylight studies in AGi32, a daylight study allows a series of date-time samples to be computed at one time. There are numerous options, so let's jump right in and see how it works. Here we have a simple daylight model open in AGi32 version 14.4. Let's open the daylight study dialog from the menu adjacent to the daylighting button. Let's give the study a name. Call it Vernal Equinox. We'll run an hourly study for March 21st. You can batch up as many dates and times as you like in a study, but for the purposes of this video, we'll keep it simple with one date. There are several date-time samples already prepared and installed for you to use. One of them is the Vernal Equinox hourly sample. There it is. You can add your own samples to this folder if you like by creating them in the dialog and then clicking on the Export button. The files are portable, so you can share them as necessary. When using the factory-supplied samples, AGi32 will ignore all time samples during hours of darkness. Had we already run a single date-time calculation in this file, we would have previously set the site daylight parameters. If not, we can do so now by clicking the Daylight Parameters button. Enable the daylighting capabilities in the program, and let's select a new site. We'll click the Site button. Let's select Roswell, New Mexico, a sleepy little town known for alien encounters. A weather file for Roswell was assigned when we defined the site, as we will be using the Perez all-weather sky with the TMY weather data. The weather station, Roswell Industrial Air Park. Select the Perez all-weather sky, and here we can see our weather station is loaded. We can see by looking at the diffuse horizontal and direct normal irradiance numbers from the weather file that this day is typically an overcast day in Roswell. The diffuse horizontal irradiance is typically higher than the direct normal. That would indicate an overcast condition. We can also see that we are adjusting the calculations for daylight savings time, DST. The weather files are based on standard time, so AGi32 adjusts the time samples accordingly. Now let's set the options for our study. First, for image type, let's select an RGB image and a pseudocolor image. The pseudocolor settings will need to be established from the Display Properties dialog prior to running the study, if not already set. We have convenient access to those settings here. Let's look at the illuminance in pseudocolor, and let's set a maximum value of 500 foot candles. This means everything over 500 will be red in pseudocolor. Okay, we're all set for pseudocolor images. We can generate images for all views or viewpoints in AGi32's render mode. Views are established by setting up multiple views. Viewpoints are different observer positions for the same view, established by pressing the F2 key. This is an easy way to get several perspectives. However, if you have set many viewpoints in your project for a walkthrough, for example, you may not want to capture an image for each one. The default response is views. Most people will have only a small number of views set up in render mode. The default is 1. We can elect to ray trace images to get nice crisp shadows and sunspots if desired. Ray trace parameters are also conveniently available here. For sun and skylight alone, it is not necessary to enable ray trace direct illumination. This happens automatically. However, if you have electric lighting enabled, you may want to make that selection, so we forward ray trace the direct light to get the most distinct luminance gradient. We can also select an image format and even a fisheye field of view. This is great for examining sky luminance. Okay, that's all for ray tracing. In addition to the standard rendered image output, we can also save the AGi32 file and optionally its radiosity solution file for each calculation or date-time sample. You can then reopen them at any time for separate evaluation. We can also create a tab-delimited text file containing calculation point data for each sample. That can be analyzed with other software, an Excel spreadsheet for example. We'll leave those options empty for now. Finally, it's good practice to label your images, done from the Label Images tab. Enable Label Images. Now select a label location. We'll put them in the upper left corner. At the bare minimum, you're going to want to at least check the date and time as part of your label. This way you can identify the images at a later time. You can assign a different font and font size if you prefer. Let's move up and select Arial Black. And let's make that color something quite bright, so that it's visible on both light and dark backgrounds. Default size of 24 point is good. We're now ready to run the study. Just click the Start button. AGi32 tells us 13 invalid samples have been removed as the weather data parameters equal 0. Those are in times of darkness, as we mentioned before. There are actually 11 samples to be run, and we can watch them run one at a time here. When the study is complete, you will see a small pop-up dialog with the study details. Click OK, and the image folder will open in Windows Explorer, where you can browse the images using Windows Picture Viewer, Preview, or the software of your choice. Here we have a folder for the pseudocolor images and a folder for the RGB images. Select Preview. You can now walk through the images easily using Windows Preview. This is very nice. The AGI files will be in the folder you selected, ready for individual examination. We think the AGi32 version 14 daylight study capability is easier and more intuitive than previous versions. Please let us know what you think. Thanks for watching.